Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to shoot football. I'm going to be going over what I try and do when I shoot, how I sort photos after the game, and what I do when editing. Can give you some little tips and tricks to help better improve your photography. Let's get into it. I'm getting to the stadium around 2 hours early to get everything set up. Right now I'm rocking a 28-70 f2 on an R3, and I will switch between a 50 f1.2, a 70-200 f4, and my 60-600 f6.3. All three of these lenses give you a very versatile range to really experiment with new angles, new types of exposures and everything, and really get something unique every game. For any of the action shots, I make sure to get in the locker room and create that feeling of preparation and anticipation before anything else happens. These can be really good for the players. They love these shots usually, and they just tell a different angle that not many people get to see.
You ready? Man, I'm about to get paid.
Let's go, man. Let's go, man. Bounce back on me. Bounce back on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Perfect.
I don't give a fuck about nothing else tonight. You hear me? I don't give a damn about nothing else except the task at hand. Do y'all hear me? Yes, sir. I don't give a damn about no other distractions. Here tonight, we got to prove to ourselves that we what we is. Yeah. We got to go out there and do our job. Nobody, do your shit. Hey, the key word tonight is safe bet. Do you hear me? Yes, the key word tonight is safe bet. Are y'all ready to play? Yes, sir. Are you ready to play? Yes, sir. Motherfucker, yes, sir. I need a hell yeah. I need a hell yeah. Are y'all ready to play?
Alright, now that we've taken the photos, it's time to import them into Photo Mechanic and pick the best ones. So Photo Mechanic is what I use to go through my photos quicker. It's a lot faster than Lightroom, and it makes your life a whole lot easier. So what I'm going to go do now is just go through and find photos I like. And as you can see, it's way quicker than sorting through Lightroom photos. And I'll pick one that I like, say this one for example, and I will hit Command+1. And it puts a pink tag by it. And what this pink tag does is I can sort later by photos tagged as pink. So once I go through, I find all my photos and I tag them as a pink one. And eventually what you will do is click Command M to rename. And as you can see, I had it for Ole Miss this way. So how I like to name my files is I'll have the year, the month, and then the day. And then I'll do underscore, and then whoever we are playing. So it'd be Pearl, underscore what sport it is, and then underscore what photographer, which would be me. This is what we do at Ole Miss, so it'd be EF for your initials. Then underscore that, and you do sequence, and it'll rename them all 001 and onwards. Reset that to 0 to make sure everything's good, and I click rename. So now it's got everything renamed, and as you can see, we've got all our photos here, and I'm just going to go through and pick the best ones I like. So I'll make a mental note of what I like, what I don't like. Eventually, if you get enough repetition, you start to understand when you're taking photos what you want to edit, what you don't want to edit, and this process will get quicker as you progress as a photographer. Now that we've got our photos picked out, we're going to go up here to Image, and we're going to go Edit Photos with and open Lightroom, and now we're going to take these photos into Lightroom. Alright, now that we're in Lightroom, I'm going to show you my process on how I think when editing and what you can do to better improve your edits. Now that we've got our photos tagged, we can go into Lightroom right here and we can sort by a white rating, which is everything that was the pink rating that I used in Photo Mechanic. So now we're going to go through and look for our cover photo. This is the photo that was the best of the best, and you just saw and you're like, that's the photo. That's what I want to be cover photo. For me, it was here at the end of the game, and it was this one of TK celebrating right here. I knew this was going to be perfect. There was a little bit of an issue. I thought I had cut off the top of his fist, and I just barely did, but not enough for it to be noticeable. You want to try and get the whole subject in frame. That is barely, and that's a mess up by me. So now we're going to go through, and I see this light here reflecting off the helmet, and I really want to enunciate that and make sure we can sort of draw the viewer's attention to the center of the frame. So for me, I'm going to darken the right and left of him, and I'm going to make it a little more blue to contrast the red, and then finally I'm going to make the jersey pop a little more. So I've got a list of presets here I like to use, and as you can see, there's tons of presets that I really use heavily, and I've got this one right here was what I was going to use for this. This is perfect for what I was wanting to do. Make the red pop, make the lights a little bluer to contrast. So what I'm going to do is create a linear gradient, and learn linear gradients in Lightroom if you haven't already. They will become your best friend in editing. So I'm going to make one to the right of him and then one to the left of him down here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to bring the exposure down just a little bit, and this draws the viewer's eye to the center of the frame already so much better. And then next I'm going to create a new mask and select the subject. This will make him pop just a little bit more. You're going to tweak these sliders ever so slightly. And I like to bring the highlights out in his jersey a little bit more. And this is a perfect photo. I might get it off I might subtract just a little bit off the right side of the helmet to get your eyes really on the WC logo here. That is pretty much it. That's a pretty good photo. There was minimal work that needed to be done there. Now I'm going to show you a bit of a different case where it's a lot harder to save the photo. Okay, so here we've got a photo where a wide receiver almost caught a ball, and the challenge with this is that there's a lot going on here. The crowd in the background, it's really dark. There's not a lot I can do to help this photo, but we have some good starting stuff that can help you enhance it. So first I'm going to crop out a lot of the distraction in the background. And right here, as you can see, if I just crop normally how I would, there's still a lot going out. There's this camera operator, there's sidelines, there's coaches. There's just too much going on. You can fix this with lower aperture glass and like an f2.8, but I cannot afford a 400 f2.8, so I'm stuck with an f6.3600. So when I was at an Ole Miss basketball game, an AP photographer told me to square crop things, and it really changed how I look at cropping. So if we do a square crop here, this is pretty much removing all that distraction from the background, and we're still maintaining a good photo. If you want to square crop, you can. I like to do it sometimes. It's finding what you like. So I'm going to sort through my presets right here and find something to sort of brine it up. This is a good one right here. It's a little yellowy, so I'm going to go down to my midtones, change those back to white. I had it set to yellow for this preset, and this is already a really good photo. I'm going to mess around with my highlights a little more, make it a little brighter, bring the shadows down just a little bit where it doesn't need to be tweaked. And already this is kind of perfect. This is miles better than we had it before. And simply all I'm going to do now, it's still very noisy. As you can see, I'm at 16,000 ISO. So I'm going to go to denoise here, and I have it at 51% or 51. And as you can see, Adobe's denoise is phenomenal. You see the Next Trend mouthpiece, and it's a million times better. This has saved me so many times. What I found is noise, if you're doing portfolio work or stuff where people are buying it, try and keep your noise at a minimum. But for something that's going to be seen on Instagram and never again, this top left window is a very good representation of how it's going to look denoised on an iPhone, because an iPhone's not going to have as many pixels. You're not going to see all that noise. So I'm just going to let this denoise real quick. And as you can see, this is a much better photo already from what we had originally. It's a little smooth, and that's the issue with doing portraits. It can smooth the skin a lot. So what I'm going to do is reintroduce some sharpness. And a little tip with sharpness is if you hold down Alt when you're sliding it and go to masking, it'll show you what you are sharpening. So I can slide this all the way down, and it will really only sharpen what I want it to sharpen. And then I'm going to add just a small amount of grain, and this will sort of give it that texture that we lost with denoising. And here we go. This is a lot better than we had before, and we basically turned a photo that we thought we couldn't save into something that is a really phenomenal photo. So you have to be very observant when you're taking photos and realizing how your environment's changing. And a good example was after we came out of the locker room at half, it started raining, and I noticed the light was reflecting off the stadium lights. So I really positioned all our players in front of our stadium lights and got these awesome water droplet reflections. So I'm gonna try and find something that really highlights the water bouncing off the lights. This is a good example right here. This pretty much is perfect. Make sure you're cropping along the horizon. So find where your horizon is. It's right around here. It's right around between the feet and the knees is usually where the horizon is, and getting that as straight as possible. And then once you've got that, I mean, this photo is pretty much set as is. There's not a lot you can do here. I really like how this turned out. The eyes are in focus. There's glistening off the helmet. This is a really good photo as is. And I like to keep my subjects in the center when I can, so just try and line up these squares, rule of thirds. I mean, I use rule of thirds, but sometimes breaking rule of thirds can help make a unique photo that people have never seen before. So this photo is pretty much set as is. I really love this. And lastly, I'm going to talk about some unique cropping you can do to help tell a story better than the original photo could. So right here, this player is running through a offensive lineman blocking, and what I'm going to do is instead create a tunnel to feel like he's running through a tunnel. So I'm going to do this in black and white. I'm going to bump the exposure up a lot on this, bump shadows, highlights, all that jazz. Okay, now that I've got sort of the general idea, I'm gonna crop in a lot. So as you can see, there is so much noise in this. It's a ridiculous amount of noise, but if you look in the top left here, that is what it's going to look like denoised. And for me, like I said, unless it's portfolio work where people are going to be examining it a lot, or it's something you're selling to a client, if it's just going on social media, you do not need to worry about the noise in it. So I'm going to go over here to denoise, enhance it, and wait for the DNG to be created. And here we go. Here is a completely different image from what it was before we denoise. I'm going to sharpen it a little bit. Really want this shoulder blade and this light reflecting. As you can see, the eyes are not really visible, but you can still get a decent pic of the face. And then what I'm going to do is simply just add a little bit of a linear gradient here to the side and draw your eyes just a little bit more into the running back. And that is it. We just completely changed that photo from what it originally was to something that has a lot more feeling to it, a lot more personality, and really just completely changed what type of image it was. So that is how I photograph football. If you want to see any of these photos posted, make sure to follow me on Instagram at Evan.raw. And yeah, I will see y'all next time.